Welcome back to the new episode of my podcast, the 4 a.m. Talks. I'm your host, Manoj Velu. You are listening to the 4 a.m. Talks podcast. So, before I get into this episode, as I do, in every most of the episodes, I would just like to thank you. I would like to show my gratitude by just thanking you. You have always come to our episodes, you have learned, and you have made sure that you go back, review, and become better. That is the most important thing. And I feel that you always tune into this podcast to have some sort of values, and I promise you to give my best to do that. And thanks for showing the faith, and you're always in our heart, in our prayers. So just hope that you are going to become whoever you wanted to become. So that is the most important thing, and I would like to thank you for that. Thanks very much, and very happy and excited to be bringing you this episode. So let's get right into it. In today's episode, I'm going to talk about a key component. What is that? Process. So why am I talking about process? It is really important because I feel most of us, when I started out, I had this concept of looking at the result. Let's say, for example, if I'm an athlete, or imagine if John Carpenter is an athlete, and if he always thinks about, I wanted to be the first person, I wanted to finish first in the race, I wanted to finish first in the race, what is the chance that he's going to finish first at the end of the race? People may have different opinion on different things, but most likely he's not going to finish first, because that pressure of being first. And what happens is, at some point your mind will be thinking, John's mind will be thinking, just like you guys, if you have the same mentality, what if I don't finish first? So if those thoughts accumulate in your brain, and if that starts dominating, then what will happen is, eventually you're not going to finish first, even though there is a probability, or if there is a high chance that you're going to finish first in that race. So that's the beauty of the process and the result. So if you just look at the result, I wanted to be first, that mentality is not that good. Instead, you can start asking questions. What is the process? What are the things that I need to do to make sure that I'm aligned with my end goal, that is finishing first in the race? So that might be the end goal. The process is very important. So the process may be, you must have a strict diet plan, stick to your basics of getting up early, having that basic routine, go out there and run for certain kilometers that you are supposed to, and make sure that you do the proper workout, and give your body ample rest, have proper meal, sleep, very important. So all these things you do each and every day, to make sure that you are doing that process in the right way, so that your end result is a possibility. If you work the other way around, most likely what will happen is, the pressure of what if I don't will creep, and it will build naturally, and it will become such a strong force that eventually it's going to dominate you, and you are going to ask the wrong questions, the questions which you shouldn't ask, and that those questions will always lead you to confusion, and making sure that you're going to be having a self-destruction mode. And if that mode is enabled in you, I'm sure that you are not going to finish first in the race. So that is the simple thing. So these things are really important for us to understand. So if I wanted to give you an example, I can give you. So let's say, for example, let's take an example of AB de Villiers, my favorite cricketer of all time. He is been my inspiration. He's been my more than anything else. I just love his personality. as a sportsman, he's simply brilliant. I don't think there could be another AB de Villiers. I know people who are watching this and people who love cricket will know exactly what I'm saying, and you will agree to my statement. So why am I saying this? AB de Villiers, when he started out, just imagine, he wanted to become the best. If you listen to the RCB podcast, you would understand what that person really wants. He's so silent. Everyone loves him, but he's so silent. He always said that, when he started out to play cricket, he said that he wanted to finish the games for his team. And eventually, he did that for South Africa as well. Whenever he came out to bat, there was a sense of fear. This man can do any impossible thing possible. He can do it no matter what. He would hit the ball 360. He could place the ball anywhere he wants to. That kind of flexibility he has. But in order to reach that level, he understood his process. He understood that his game cannot be elevated in 1 month or in 1 week or in 1 year. It will take years of practice, years of understanding himself and his game. Imagine if he doesn't understand his game, if he doesn't understand his strengths and weaknesses, what is the possibility that he would become such a superstar in the game, that the greatest batsman that ever produced. Can you imagine that he has adapted his game so well in test cricket as well. He had played around, he had scored I think 47 of 300 balls, which means he had played 50 overs and his strike rate is less than 20 to 30. At the same time, I still remember, he has this fastest ODI century. How well can he adapt his game? It means that he understands the process really well. He knows what type of format is being played, what is important to my team, how can I adapt to that level. So if he just looks at the end product, I'm just gonna imagine he's playing a test match and he wants to save a test match. He did that as well against Australia. Him and Faf du Plessis played really well and they saved a test match against Australia. But what is the most important thing? Faf du Plessis and AB de Villiers wouldn't be thinking, how could I save the test match? Instead, they would be thinking about the process of, having that mindset of playing the ball in line and their, basics, to be the basics right and play properly. Leave the balls if it is not intended to play. You can, there's a very less chance that you would get out. So all these things they understand really well. Even if I wanted to give a better example, I would give you the last Sydney test. What happened to Ashwin and Vihari? They played out. The match was drawn. So they were able to negotiate the overs that was bowled by the Australian Pacers. Why am I telling you this? They understood something that is more important, that is understanding the process. They understood that how can I play the next delivery as perfectly as possible. There could be 540 balls a day. So there is 90 overs. So if you think, oh my god, how am I going to play 90 overs? There is 540 balls. I'm going to negotiate and there are, deadly pacers who's going to bowl and come at you every single time. If you start asking those questions, see, these are the wrong questions that I was talking about in the in 2 minutes back. These are the wrong questions. Instead, you can ask, am I doing my basics right? Am I, playing the proper shot? Am I in line with the ball? Am I playing it perfectly? Am I leaving the balls that are intended to leave? So these are the things that they're gonna ask questions, and they did it. So AB de Villiers was the same character as well. He was able to do that. That is because he understood that process is more important and the result is eventually gonna come. So this is more important. So this is what I understood about my role models, AB de Villiers, and eventually Kobe Bryant also said the same thing. He asked the question, where would you be? Would you hate to lose or would you love to win? So Kobe Bryant said, neither. I would rather be in the center, because if I say I want to win, I want to win, the pressure is gonna build up, and I'm gonna lose anyway. And I'm gonna ask questions. What if I don't win? And the negative things, if I don't win, will eventually make sure that you're not gonna win anyways. So he said, instead, if you put yourself in the middle, in the center, and ask yourself, how can I make sure that my process is in the alignment with whatever I wanted to do, and you will understand that it is not gonna be in a split second that it's done. No, it will take time. And if you understand that, and if you keep learning, and eventually you're going to elevate to another level, keep learning, elevate to another level, and this will happen, and one day you will be able to reach that end goal, whatever the result that you wanted to. But you should understand that focusing and trusting the process is more important than anything else. So this is what I've learned from from my role models, to whomever I'm looking up to. What is who's your role model? Look at them, study them, and understand them, and look at their process. Look how they trust their process, and understand them, and try to replicate the same in your industry by putting out your strategies in place, and see how it changes. This is key, because if you just look at them, and you shouldn't just be a fan, according to me. That there is no use of just being a fan, because the person whom you love, for sure, I know they have put lots of effort, and they would have trusted the process. And when nobody believed in them, they believed in themselves, and they made sure that they reached to that level. And see what happens, you are a fan of them. And that they didn't work like I want more fans. They worked on their craft, they believed in their work, they made sure that how could they improve each and every day, so that whatever work they do can be done as perfectly as possible, so that whatever the end goal, the result that comes, that they wanted to achieve, will eventually gonna come one day or the other. So this is my challenge to you. Just go out there, study the people whom you love, as a person, as a professional, whatever it could be. Just study them and see how they trusted the process, and how they were able to achieve those results, irrespective of people supported them or not. They have gone on, and met those results, and also achieved more than that. That is simply because they understood themselves and trusted the process. So with that being said, I'll see you in the next episode. See you guys, take care, bye.